other phone. We're having some technical difficulties with my typical phone. This is the other one. It has horrible sound and horrible picture. So, if you're watching, let me know if you can hear me. Seeing me is not going to change. It's just going to be blurry and whatever, whatever else. But let me know if you can hear me. And if you can't, I'll try to talk a little bit louder. Okay. Lakin said that her and her daddy are watching from the other room and they can hear me. Yeah. Okay. Good. We'll let a few other people hop on, but how's everybody doing? How's the weather going your all's way? In spring, it's always a mix of winter and just a hint of some warm weather for us and a lot of rain. We've been getting just a little bit of rain, not too much rain this week, but it has the temperatures hopped up enough enough to make us want spring, and then drop down enough for it to snow. We haven't got any accumulation on snow, but we got like snow flurries every once in a while. And then we'll have like a day where it's really super warm. What is it, Bubba? But everybody hop on here and let me know how it is, how it's going your all's way, how the weather is. We're going to get on here and chit chat a little bit. I've got quite a few new subscribers here recently, and so if we get enough people on here, I'll go ahead and introduce myself again. We did a live on Wednesday, and it went super well with Harmon Homestead. She's a wonderful, wonderful girl, and I was glad to get her on our live. And while people are on here, I'll say it again later on. If you are interested, if you have your own channel and you are interested in doing a collab, doing a live with us, shoot me an email. My email is in the information tab, whatever it's called. And if you want to do a collab, do a live with us, I'd be super interested in it. I'll say this in the beginning here, and I've said it when I've offered it. We are a clean channel. We try to keep things clean and appropriate. No foul language or anything like that. I want my channel to be something that your kids can sit down and watch with you. So if you have a channel like that and you are interested in getting on a live and chit-chatting about you and your channel, and then I would be super excited to go ahead and do an interview. And like I said, we do Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 o'clock. Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 o'clock. I do try to have, like I said, a midweek, which is Wednesday, and then the weekend, Sunday. So we'll go ahead and get that out there for from the get-go. But who all's here? It looks like people are popping on and off. So who's all here? I love being able to know who's here and to get to chit-chat with everybody, and just seeing how everybody's doing. I have people that show up pretty regularly, and then I have new people that pop in and out. So, but I appreciate everybody that shows up. I don't want to say that like I don't appreciate everybody showing up. And like I said, hello. How are you doing, Randy? Like I said, we get enough people on here, I'll go ahead and introduce myself again. We did that live Wednesday, and we got a few new subscribers, and so I want to kind of introduce myself and kind of let everybody know who I am and what I'm about. Obviously, this is a homestead and farming channel, and we do mostly gardening and small livestock at the moment. But we have had larger livestock in times past. Let's see. How's the weather where you're at, Randy? I'm excited to see what everybody's weather is, mostly because I know it's either one way or another. You're either on the warmer side or on the colder side, and it gets me antsy for garden season. I know there's a lot of people that's been putting out garden content down south, and boy, would I love to be the one that was planting a garden right now. West Virginia. Oh yeah, I forgot you're in West Virginia. You're close to us. I don't know what it is right now. I'm gonna say probably around 35. I'd say we're about the same. Do you garden, Randy? I'm gonna assume that you like garden content, or maybe that you do. Hello, Hilltop Home Place. I'm gonna assume that you like garden content and like farming content since you're on this channel. But good evening. How are you? We're a little slow for a Sunday. People are just popping on and off real slow, like. But since we're so slow, I'll just go ahead and if whoever's watching this later hasn't kept up with our channel, hey Chas, how are you? Y'all doing okay? We've had our minds on Dylan. We've said it a million times. I can't believe I can't believe it happened. Cassidy is my husband's cousin's wife, and he got in an accident and hit his shin, I believe, with an axe, and hit it all the way to the bone. So last time I checked, he was in the hospital, bless his heart. So he got in a severe, pretty severe accident. I'd say it did. I don't want to get too gory or gruesome here, but my dad was helping somebody cut down lumber one time, and he took a saw and he chopped his hand in half. And so he has a line that goes all the way from one side of his hand to the other, and the way they talked is that it was just hanging off. I guess he didn't cut it all the way through, but he cut it he cut it pretty deep that it was hanging. His hand was hanging, and he has nerve damage in his hand from that. And then years down the road, my sister had a bush trimmer and was trimming bushes, and she about cut her finger off. And so you got to be careful with that stuff. That's really dangerous. Wow, 80 acres. I would love to have 80 acres. I would I would love to have 80 acres. I wouldn't be able to oh, I'd love it. I'd love to just have 80 acres to roam on. That would be that would be a dream. That would be a dream. But it's not in the cards right now to have 80 acres, unless the Lord just gives us 80 acres, or somebody decides to write us in their will. I don't think 80 acres is going to be in our cards. That's the thing, is me and Andy have talked about this a lot. Yeah, you'll have to watch, Cass. That's the thing, me and Andy have talked about this a lot, like I was saying. There's nothing wrong with, Mosley Hillside, well, you're in West Virginia. There's nothing wrong with people, like, getting passed down land from their grandparents and their parents and stuff. We just wish that we had had that opportunity, that our grandparents or our parents had grown, had multiple acres, so that they could pass down to us. So unfortunately, we are starting at the bottom. We are a couple that didn't really have much handed to us. Our parents were both middle class. We grew up middle class, and our parents, all they had to pass down to us was work ethic, and so we do have that. We try to work hard for everything that we have, but it's a hard road to toe when you got to start from the bottom and work your way up, but it'll be worth it. And we've talked about it so much. You know, our parents weren't able to, pass down land to us, but good Lord's willing, if it's His will, then we'll be able to pass down, hopefully, something to our daughter. And that's very important to us. We just have the one child, and probably will only have one child. And so, we want to, and she's, she's a girl. And so we want to have something to pass down to her so that she can have something to pass down to her children. And that's important. And like I said, we don't see anything wrong with being able, that people our age have got land and farms to roam and to work on. I think that's wonderful. I'm glad for them. But we wish we would have had that opportunity as well. But like I said, our parents passed down a work ethic, and you got to start somewhere. Like I said, if you got to start at the bottom, then you got to start at the bottom and work your way up. And a lot of people had to do that. And it takes hard work and dedication. But we're willing to put in the work and the dedication to be able to have the amount of acreage and land that we would like. And so we're just gonna have to work hard and earn it, and it'll be worth it. Yeah. And I tell myself, you're talking about nothing given to you. I tell myself that it's gonna be so much more worth it. Hello, how are you doing, Art? It's gonna be so much more worth it. To say that we started with nothing, literally. We started with nothing, and with the grace of God, we've worked our way up to what little bit we have now, which is an extreme blessing, because I know that we are more fortunate than a lot of other people, and I thank God for having a roof over our heads and food on our table, and that's what's important. And a willingness to work hard. In order to have anything, you've got to be willing to work hard, and that's part of it. And I think in our society now, for sure, it's a lot harder for people to work their way up than it used to be. I don't know what it is, but it just is. And I think a lot of people would agree with me there that it is just a lot harder to work our way up through all the stuff you got to work your way up through, to have, things without going into a large amount of debt. And that's the thing, as I'm sitting here talking about this, and people are probably like, well, why don't you just, go to the bank? But everything that we do, and we had decided this early on in our marriage, that we weren't gonna drown ourselves in debt. We're gonna pay things off one thing at a time, and not have a whole bunch of debt to either pass down to our child, or to either have to spend our lives paying off. Our parents, like I said, they were middle class individuals, and they worked really hard for everything that they had, but they're still paying. My mom's still paying her house off, and his parents are still paying their houses off. And so we don't want to do that. we want to we don't want to have a vehicle payment and a car payment, or like a vehicle payment and equipment for the farm payment and a house payment, and all those things on top of each other. And so we had decided right off the bat that we weren't going to have any credit card debt, that we would get our vehicles. All of our vehicles are used. We've never had a new vehicle. We've had fairly new vehicles for us, but newer in years. But we've never bought a new vehicle just straight off the lot. We've always bought used vehicles. At least one owner vehicles. I think both of our vehicles were just one owner. But and we've always just tried to be smart with our choices and pay stuff off. one at a time. And I think that that's a big difference to what society teaches you to do. Society teaches you to go out and buy the best and the new of absolutely everything, and we just had it in our minds that we weren't going to do that. And so because of that, you know, we're just working class people that are doing the best we can, that are having our needs met, and we're not having to struggle to pay off anything. But you know, we're slowly working towards having our dream farm, and that takes time if you're doing it little by little. And so, and like I said, you know, it was probably a lot easier to save back in the day because one, things were a lot cheaper, and two, people weren't as drawn to have as many things. You know, like your typical household expenses now are way more than what they used to be in price, and also in the amount of stuff. Like, people have cable TV, they have internet, they have all the not only do they have cable TV, but they've got all the Hulus and the Netflixes and the Disney Plus and all that stuff, and those seem like small expenses when they start out. Um, we know you're really a millionaire. Yeah. Yeah. No, not here. We ain't. That's funny. They have all these small expenses that add up to big expenses. If you're driving a brand new vehicle, if you're having to pay for, you know, cable TV, if you're having to buy the Hulus and the Netflixes and the latest iPhone that comes out every single time. Me and Andy was just talking to his dad about that, and his dad said, "What iPhone do you have?" I think Andy has this iPhone 6 Plus. I think Andy has an iPhone 6 Plus. That's what he has. And so I don't even know what's the latest one. Is it like 13 whatever? And so we don't have the latest of everything. And we don't have the newest of everything. And you know, we went out with my mother-in-law. We had a girls' day, and we went out and went to Salvation Army and Goodwill to buy clothes. We didn't go out to the new whatever, or the most expensive boutique. Yeah, to buy clothes. And we're not suffering for that. You know, a lot of people think like, oh, well, they're holding back and suffering for a long time to have short pleasures, but we're not. I don't feel like we are. You know, I don't feel like we're suffering. We don't have a TV and haven't for years. And I can't remember what we were paying to have cable TV, but we didn't have cable TV very long. I think we had it when we first got married. We had my daughter, and probably had it until she was about 2 years old, and then we got rid of the TV completely. There's not a TV in this house. If you want to hear the news, you're going to have to listen to the radio that sits in the living room. It might seem boring for some people, but that's how we do things. That's, you know, one way we save money, and that's one way we keep our lives simple. And I talked about this on a short here recently. Our goal for living is to have a simple, quiet life. We're not looking to fill our lives full of all the loud, you know, things out in this world. We're looking for simple, quiet, slow lives. Um, I've got a 13 Pro phone. Of course, I only got it after crushing my other one with a tractor. Oh no, bless your heart. Yeah, you bought it out of necessity, though. You know, there's a lot of people that just go out and buy the latest of whatever. Same here, and there ain't no need for it, of course. Nice things can be enjoyable, but the necessary things are more important, and the Lord above is the most necessary in life, and if you have Him, yeah, you're rich. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Cassidy, and that's kind of where I was going with this, is, you know, there's more important things in this life than having the best of everything. Like Cassidy said, your soul is number one. And if your life is too loud, then your soul is not happy. You can't fill yourself full of the things. It's okay. Hi, Eric. You can't fill yourself full of the worldly things, the things that are so loud and more important to you, and have a quiet, simple life, where are, one, relying on the Lord for everything, but two, having time to just live life. I've never, we homeschool our child, and I've never, we don't have, the school events or the sports and things like that. The sports like that. So we're not running and running the roads all the time and having to take her to this and that. But you hear a lot of times about mothers, being overwhelmed with having to take their children to do things like that, and running and just and running around, and how it steals their joy and their peace. That they always have to be somewhere doing something, and it just takes the joy and the peace out of living. It overwhelms you, and if it's overwhelming you, it's probably overwhelming, your children. And so that's one good thing about having, a farm and a homestead or a farmstead or whatever you want to call it. It might take a lot of time to raise animals, to have animals, to provide for animals, to be there. And you don't get to have, all the vacations maybe that you would want to have, or you might not get to go everywhere that you want to go, or stay out as late as you would like to stay out, maybe sometimes. But it requires you to be there, and it requires you to, live a little bit slower, to have less things, to have a lower amount of priorities. And I love that. I love, just being on the farm. Priority, my place is paid for. Yeah, and like you said, it's it's setting priorities for those things, and I made a video about being a homesteader, and I can't even think of the name of the video, but it was like, don't become a homesteader, for these reasons, or I can't remember the title, but it was one of the things was talking about, if you like vacations or if your life is busy, you probably do not want to, this is not a lifestyle that you would want to do, because you have to, if you don't like being home, or you don't like being outdoors, or you don't like being, tied to being at home, this is probably, this ain't going to work for you. This lifestyle is not going to work for you. It's funny because, like I said, I went out with my mother-in-law yesterday, and they had to beg me. They had to beg me to go. She asked me, like I said, we did. She asked me 3 times, and the third time I was like, I don't know. And then I went down there and talked to my husband. He said, go, just go. I'll take care of whatever else needs taking care of. You gotta drag me. You gotta drag me away from home and away from the farm, because I don't like being out. I don't like. We went to a bigger city next to us. It's 45 minutes away, and they've got the mall and all the outlet malls and stuff like that. Our town is tiny. It's absolutely tiny. The town where our farm is at, they have one grocery store and a bunch of Dollar Generals. But it's small, and I like that. I like being to just, like, be near the woods, be with the animals, be where it's quiet, not having to socialize with people. I know that sounds horrible. But I just don't like it. It almost feels claustrophobic to just be around a lot of people. and maybe that's antisocial of me. You can tell that I'm a homeschool mom and that I've been home for years because I don't like leaving the house and I don't like being around a bunch of group of people. And Andy's the same way. Although he works out in the public, he works for himself, and so he gets to choose who he's going to be around. But I don't know. And that's the thing. Like if you're gonna have a farm lifestyle, then you better be ready to be at home. You better be ready to just be on the farm because you're needed. You're needed. That's one thing about it is your animals depend on you for absolutely everything. If you're not there, here's a perfect example. We went on vacation in August. It was, dead smack. It was right at the end of August. It was dead smack into the time that we needed to be planting, or that we needed to be picking beans, that we needed to be out in the garden getting watermelon and cantaloupe. And we vacationed close. That way we could take and tend to the animals. But we were not staying, like we would come feed the animals, and then we didn't spend any time really out in the garden or anything like that. We just, the animals were the priority. We got that done, and then we would head back out and do whatever the activity was for the day. Um, and so we stayed within 30 minutes of the farm. That way we could get back to the farm and tend to the animals. Well, in that time we didn't tend to the garden, and all of our cantaloupe ruined, all of our watermelon ruined, and all of our beans got tough. And they stayed on the vine too long. So we missed out on our beans, we missed out on our watermelon, and we missed out on our cantaloupe. When you have a farm, a homestead, the farm and homestead need you to be there. Which we ate out of the guy. It wasn't. It was a big loss, but it was just the reality, and we just had to suck it up and say, well, that was the loss. But at least we, got to have a vacation. We had family come down, and so we wanted to spend time with the family, and that was the priority. But if you want to have a vacation, you even have to plan your vacation around the times, your breeding times, for your birthing times. You got to plan your life around those things. And if that's going to be a downer for you, if that's something that you don't think you can do, then, this lifestyle is probably not it. Um, and that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. And, I try to be honest with, with you all. I know a lot of people watch me, that are farmers, and I know a lot of people that watch me that want to be farmers, that want to be homesteaders, that want to grow their own food. And I try to be as honest and upfront with you all as I possibly can. Anybody that's on here that is a farmer could probably vouch for me as well. You got to be tied to the farm. It's something that has to happen, and it just it is what it is. We ordered seeds. Should be here Tuesday. Not sure how long we are going to be here for, but at least we will try. That's awesome, Eric. I'm super excited for you all. I know I'm hoping that everything goes the way you all want to. I know that you are wanting to. I know you're wanting to move on to a farm of your own, and I'm super excited for you in that. I really. Speaking of that, I got on this live, and I wanted to ask you and talk to you all. I know that we've gotten a lot of recent subscribers here. First off, there's 9 people on here. I talked about it a little bit before a lot of you all popped on. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Kenzie. I'm in my late 20s and close to 30. And we have a farm. We live in the city, or live in a town. We're not really a city. It's a city for me. Just it's town. It's town for me, and we farm 3 acres, 15 minutes away from us. The acres that are 15 minutes away from us are my mother-in-law and father-in-law's land that they weren't really doing anything with, and we asked them. Can we move our animal? Can we buy animals, move animals on the farm, and can we have a farm? Can we have a working homestead or farm? And they said absolutely yes. So in the meantime, we are saving up and looking, but saving up mostly for a farm of our own. We're wanting to get around 10-ish acres. That way that we can, do more of what we are wanting to do. We just recently sold our goats and moved them off the farm, and we recently sold horses. Or horses, we did have horses as well. We've raised, we've had cattle on the farm, we've had ducks on the farm, we've had chickens, we have rabbits and chickens now is what we have, and maybe looking into getting some more of something later on. We're not in any big hurry to pile something on after we got rid of the goats. We raise a garden every year, and I talked about this on our live with Harmon Homestead. I don't really know any other reason as to why we started raising a garden besides the fact that it's just culture here. We are in the Kentucky side of the Appalachian Mountains. We are in Appalachia, and it is an Appalachian thing to raise a garden. It's just something that's been passed down from generation to generation. I was raised a town girl. My mom and dad moved to this area when I was 5 or 6 years old, and I've lived here ever since. But I was raised in town. My husband, on the other hand, was raised on a chicken farm, a very large chicken farm. They had hundreds of chickens, and that's how he was raised. They lived off the garden. They canned, they ate out of the garden, they lived off the garden. They even talk about having to pump water into the house, and he got washed in a wash tub. That's how he bathed. And so he was out in the country, and all those things. It was a whole 9 yards for him when he was growing up. There is an age gap between me and him, and that's probably why he was washed in a wash tub, but he was also born out in the country. There's an 11-year age gap between me and him. I'm not going to tell you which one's older, but you could probably guess. I'm just kidding. He's 11 years older than me. And he was raised more country-like. That's one thing about me, though, that I always wanted. I always wanted a slow, quiet country lifestyle where I could raise my own food and raise my kids at home and homeschool and do all the things that we are doing now. But it was just natural for us to go ahead and start a garden. And so our daughter, Lakin, has been raised up eating garden food and working in the garden and being in the garden. She's been raised up with animals. I was talking to somebody today, and they were talking, we had given them a rooster, and she messaged me and she said, I love our rooster, he's just so gentle and sweet. And I said, we handle our babies, all our babies, whether it's goats or chickens or rabbits or whatever, what have you, we handle our babies from the very beginning. And she has, if you've ever noticed in the background of our videos, she usually has some type of animal in her hands most of the time. About every time I turn around, she's got something. Holding on to something in her hands, whether it be a chicken or a rabbit or a dog. She has something in her hands. And she is a big help on the farm. We are raising her up to be able to raise her own food, to know where her food comes from, being able to process her own food, along with being able to hunt and forage for her own food, because I believe those are important skills as well. And now that we're coming into spring, I talked about on a live here recently, I might have with Harmon Homestead, about me wanting to learn and dive more into the skill of foraging. And so hopefully we will have some more videos of us foraging in our Kentucky mountains here, which will be really, really fun. I'm super excited about that. And I really want to become more skilled in the skill, because it is a skill of foraging. I don't know if Ark Wildman is still here, but he is a proficient forager, and he has a wonderful channel for showing you how to forage. So if that is something that you are interested in, Ark Wildman is your guy, and I'm sure there's a million other, well, maybe not a million, but there's a bunch of other people on YouTube that'll show you the same thing. So that's one thing about it. You have to know what you're looking at and what you're doing in order to forage. But I want to know more about what I'm looking at and what I'm doing and how to find things. I think that, like I said, is a very important skill that we need to learn. And there's so many medicinal benefits to being able to forage for your own food, your own medicine. And I believe that God gave us all kinds of things on this earth that we need to use for our health, to benefit our health. So, all that to say that that is what our channel is about. I do have a playlist on my channel about goats. We no longer have goats, but if you are on here and you're interested about goats, we do have quite a bit of info, quite a bit of videos on goats. And if I haven't covered anything specifically that you are interested in, if I know anything about it, I will cover it. Whether it has to do with the goats or any other topic. That's all that to say, and this is the point that I was wanting to get at. We are coming into spring. I'm going to be talking a lot about. Ark Wildman said, yeah, I'm doing classes on foraging on the 17th. So if you are interested in that, he is doing classes on foraging on the 17th. His channel is Ark Wildman Survival, and he knows the foraging things. He knows that stuff, guys. So if you're interested in it, he's your guy. I wanted to ask you all, we are coming into spring. Foraging stuff is going to be coming out, and like I said, I want to be more aware of that stuff. Starting into that stuff, we're going to be doing some more garden stuff. We're going to be having some baby rabbits. Is there anything specifically that you all want to see? I want to make sure that I'm covering topics that you all want to know about. I've got a lot of videos on rabbits, and I know a lot of people ask about the rabbits, and that's why I put a lot of videos up about the rabbits, because a lot of people ask about them. Is there anything specifically that you all want to see? We also incubate our chicken eggs, and we've got a brooder set up. I've got videos on that as well. Are you all interested in a video about the incubator and things like that? Early on, when I very first started my YouTube channel, I do have a video on that. I don't know how, I haven't watched it back, so I don't know how detailed I was on the incubator, or stuff like that. I know that a lot of people are interested in incubating eggs. We've done it for 2 years now. We started last spring, and we're going on into the second spring. Well, we might have started in the winter of 2022, maybe. I think. Might have started in the winter of 2022 and then went into 2023. Okay, Eric, you would be interested in the incubator videos. Okay, I'm going to write that down because I want to make sure, like I said, that I am including things in my videos that you all are interested in. Like I said, we have new subscribers as well. I know a lot of people are going to be interested in the garden stuff. A lot of people watch my videos, specifically, especially women, I find, watch my videos for gardening and food. They want to see me cook, and they want to see me garden. Or they want to see what I'm doing in the kitchen, and they want to see what I'm doing in the garden. Not specifically me, but what those videos consist of. We definitely want to make sure that we're putting stuff out that you all are interested in, because I want to be a help. I want to help people, find their way into this. And I did a video today, and I haven't posted it yet. It'll probably be posted maybe Wednesday or Thursday, somewhere in there. I haven't edited it. I haven't edited it yet, but I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert on anything. I just know what I know, and I do my best to to clarify the things that I say, to back it up with research that you can actually find. Violet flowers are in bloom now. Great salad toppers. See, Ark Wildman knows all the stuff. We don't have no violets out right now. We've got Easter lilies that are getting ready to come out. But right now, nothing has... I don't think I've even seen a dandelion. Although we do have robins. That's not a flower or a weed. But we do have robins coming, so that's a good sign of spring. That's a hopeful sign of spring. We also have a bird's nest that birds have nested in for years and years and years on our front porch. I mean years. Probably, I don't know, 15, 20 years. And they are starting to nest. They've got a big string of plastic off of, it looks like it's on a tarp or whatever, off of a tarp. They've got it hanging out of their nesting box. Some nesting material. It's blue. It flaps in the wind. I think it's really cute that they use whatever. It reminds me, if you've ever watched that movie Sarah Fine and Tall, and she cuts the little boy's hair, and she cuts it and then throws it out in the wind. I asked her what she's doing. She said she's throwing it out in the wind so the birds can use it for their nest in the spring. And I always thought that was really neat. I've never thought to do that, which my husband's hair doesn't get long enough for him to throw it out in the wind for the birds, but pretty neat. Pretty neat thought. I know they use all kinds of stuff. I know that there's hawks over the farm as well. I believe there's at least one pair of hawks that have got a nest somewhere near the farm. They kind of make us nervous. They make the chickens really nervous. We're worried we're going to lose some baby chicks. And we did lose some baby chicks to the hawks, we believe, last year. And also the neighbor's cat kind of got a few babies as well, unfortunately, because you don't really have much options when stuff like that goes on. So, but the dog can cover more area now, and so that will hopefully prevent some loss of some chickens. But I think we lost about it seemed like we added it up. I don't know why this number always pops in my head, but I think we lost around 82 chickens, baby chicks, last year to either hawks or cats, or some type of predator. We did lose a couple grown chickens to a dog, as well. But hawks and cats are our main predators on the farm. And the thing about hawks and cats is they can get a baby chick very quickly and get it outside of the fenced-in area. One good thing about our new fence that we put up, if you all haven't seen the video, I've got it posted. I think it's predator-proof chicken fence. It is completely electrified from the top to the bottom, 6 strands of electrified fencing. So that should help with the cats, at least. And the dog is in there now, and he has a big area to run, so hopefully it will help with the hawks as well. I don't really know what else we could really do for the hawks besides just having a livestock guardian dog to kind of run them off. So we also seen an eagle the other day flying over the farm, which also makes us nervous because you can't do anything about an eagle. There's nothing that you could do about an eagle. If they, swoop down to pick up your babies, you just have to watch them and wave. Watch them and wave as they fly off with your babies. So that's unfortunate, but it is the way it is. So what is everybody most excited about growing in the garden? I know what I'm excited about. I haven't got the seeds for it yet, though. So I say I'm excited about it, but I gotta get the seed. I want to grow loofahs. I've said it on every video. I really, 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 really want to grow loofahs really bad. He said everything. Yeah. Yeah, everything is food. Everything is food. And so, we've got strawberries in the raised beds that survived the winter, along with some blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry bushes. I believe is what they are. I always mix them up. I think one of the blueberries we had to rip up. I don't know if there was other blueberries in there or not. And then we've got some garlic. I said on a video the other day I didn't know if it was garlic or onion. My father-in-law planted it, and he said it was garlic. So we've got some garlic coming up. We have to wait to start in the garden to till it up again after we ran the tractor over it because it's really, really wet and it's clay soil, so it's hard to get in there. I've got potatoes, onion, cabbage, lettuce, and carrots planted. I wish we could plant that stuff. Butternut squash and cucumbers and carrots. That sounds good. We had volunteer butternut squash come up one year. And funny story, out of 2 families, there's only 2 people who like butternut squash. One is my mother-in-law and one is me. And so we had volunteer butternut squash that come up everywhere the year before last. And so we still have butternut squash. I've still got butternut squash in the freezer. What are you doing? I've got butternut. There she is, y'all.
Well, the only time I like butternut squash is when Mama sticks it in the oven. I think she pan fries it and then sticks it in the oven and brings it out.
Yeah.
Like that.
You like it like that?
I don't like the flavor.
You don't like the flavor?
No, I like summer squash. That's my favorite type of squash.
Summer squash. I don't have no seed. We need to get seeds for summer squash.
You do.
I didn't get no seeds for summer squash. Ark Wildman said, "Hi, Mama's helper." She's Mama's helper for sure. We had a horrible drought last year. We had a bad drought too. Next to no rain and ended in June to November, so I'm looking forward to everything. Daisy Q said, "Lakin approved." That's what it's all about. Absolutely, yeah. Cassidy said, "Hey, Lakin."
Hey.
Yeah, that's what matters. I made pickles last year and sold them to my coworkers for double the price just because they're the same rate. Yeah.
I only honestly say I don't like. I've tried canned pickles. I like store-bought pickles. I don't know why.
She won't eat a canned pickle, the sweet pickle. We haven't canned dill pickles though.
Oh, Mama canned, what's that?
She canned sweet pickles.
Oh, no wonder I didn't like them. I don't like sweet pickles.
And guys, for those of you all that were wanting the recipe for the canned sweet pickles, I told her that you all were interested in the canned sweet pickles. Because the crunchy ones, she makes good crunchy ones. And so I told her, and she said that she would be willing to do a video for you when it comes time to show you all how she makes her crunchy sweet pickles. They're crunchy. Have you tried them?
I tried one, didn't have it.
Was it crunchy though?
Yeah.
It was crunchy. It was very crunchy. Sour mustard pickles. That is something I've never heard of. Sour mustard. I like mustard and pickles together though.
Does it taste like mustard or pickles? I would want to know about that.
Eric said that sounds good, yeah. I'll tell you all a funny story because it made me think of something. When I was a teenager, me and my best friend were hungry. And we were probably, I'm going to say 10-ish, 10, 11 years old. And both of us thought we were going to be chefs. Now, here's the funny thing is her mom was actually a culinary chef. Like, she actually knew how to cook, went to school for it. They owned 2 restaurants as we were growing up, and so they actually knew how to cook. But anyways, we decided that we were going to go in the kitchen and we were going to cook something really, really good. And we were going to come up with something, and it was going to be so good. And so here's what we came up with. Mac and cheese with pickles and mustard. That was what our groundbreaking recipe was. And so we had it. Me and her loved it. And so the next day I told my mom and dad, I said, "Mom, Dad, I'm going to make supper tonight." And they're like, "Okay." And
They didn't like it.
well, I don't know if they didn't ask. I can't remember for sure if they didn't ask what I was making, or I was like, it's going to be a surprise. And they said okay, so they agreed to it. So I went into the kitchen, I made my mac and cheese, and I put mustard and pickles on it. And that's what we had for supper. I cannot remember if my mom and dad liked it or not. But I think even if they didn't like it, they wouldn't have told me because I was like staring at them, watching them eat it. And I was so proud of that. And my mom and dad were the type of people that if you were, like if you, thought you were doing really, really good, that they would, they would say, yeah, absolutely, that is great. And
Yeah,
so even if it was nasty, they would have loved it.
I don't know about pickles, mustard, and mac and cheese combined, but I know like pickles, mustard,
And mac and cheese.
I don't know about all that combined. It's probably very sour.
It is. It's a spicy, sour, cheesy mixture. I think the recipe is still on my community page. Okay. If anybody is interested in the sour mustard pickles, he said that they are on. He thinks that they might still be on the community page. So if you are interested in them, then he has got them listed up. And there's been a few more people that popped on since we were talking about it earlier. If you are interested in any like foraging or anything like that, Ark Wildman is your guy. And he said that, was it March 17th? I want to be sure I say, he said on the 17th. So yeah, it'd be March 17th. He's going to be doing a class on foraging, and he knows what he's talking about. He has an abundant amount of knowledge when it comes to those things, and so he can show you, tell you where to find it and what you can eat and what you can't eat. And I want to go ahead and put that out there because he knows that stuff. And so there's that. There's something else, and we were talking earlier. Somebody, Eric, you said that you wanted more information on the incubator incubating eggs, and so I'll try to do a video for that. Like I said, what's going to be coming out here soon, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be getting into the garden for sure. And I know a lot of people watch for the garden. Going to be watching for the garden stuff. Lord willing, I'm planning on starting seeds. I keep telling myself I'm going to try to start seeds the second week of March. But y'all don't hold me to that. But hopefully, I will be able to start seeds the second week of March. Along with that, we are going to be having babies. Probably her due date is the end of next week. I think actually her due date is the 1st. So probably March 1st, somewhere in there we'll be having babies. It's Clover, and she always goes over. She always goes over when she has babies. So we'll see when she gives us babies right after her the next week. We're going to be having babies out of Beth and Maybelline. That's when their due date is. So we'll have them probably a week or so or a few days after Clover does. Beth is going to be a first-time mom, and if you've watched any of my videos, I always set my expectations low for first-time mamas. That way I don't get hurt. Mostly because so I don't get hurt. I always just tell myself, this is the first time having babies, so don't get upset if stuff don't work out. And so I have that in my brain, that things might not go the way is planned. One fun thing about all these breedings, and I think I said it on the live last time, I can't remember, was talking to somebody about it. These are all going to be new breedings and new pairings. We're just starting in the mini Rexes, so those are all going to be, I've never seen how any of them have been mothers. And Clover obviously is a seasoned doe on the farm, but she's going to be paired with Blue, and so we've never seen what's come out of those. So we'll just have to see. When are the baby chicks hatching from the incubator? We've got some that are hatching right now.
Yeah, we have one that's already hatched.
And then what's on the other incubator?
14
14 days?
14. Last time I checked, it was 18. Do you want to go check?
I think it's 14 days. You can check. But we've got 2 incubators. And what is the, I can't think of what the name of the incubators are. Well, we'll talk about that on the video. That'll be a good thing to talk about. But yeah, we have baby chicks hatching right now as we speak. In the incubator in the back. And we have 2 incubators. We just recently bought another one. One of the ones that hatch out 22 eggs. That way that we could have 2 hatching. Yeah. Well, it's exciting in one sense, because we get to, have more babies. But in another sense, they're not big stock chickens. They're the heritage breed chickens. And I don't fool with them as much as I do the big stock, as most of y'all know. The heritage breed chickens are Andy's, and so they're not my babies. Also, we've seen it so much. We've hatched out so many eggs that at first, like, we would sit down on the floor and we'd sit and watch every single one of them hatch out, and we would get really super excited. We'd stay up all night and watch all the eggs hatch out. But where I've seen it so much, it's not even really exciting anymore. It's kind of killed the joy of it. I want to try that once we move. I don't want to get any more chickens right now. Yeah, it would be rough piling on more animals to move. What is it, honey?
There is 13 more days on our second week.
Yeah, 13 more days. So we've seen chickens hatch over and over again about
Yeah, we have, but if I can see them be born and I'd be the first thing to see, I feel like it makes the bond.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think they imprint on you?
Yeah, because Blue's like that too. He's not joking, y'all. If I go to the Sandy's place, he jumps up and lays down on his board, and when I open it, he just lays down and lets everybody pet on it.
Have you, Eric? I need to subscribe. I completely forgot. I was going to subscribe to you the other day, and got off here and went to look for your channel, and then something happened and I got distracted. So I have not, forgive me, please. Please forgive me, because you've been such a big support. I have not subscribed to your channel. So I'm going to do that, because I want to support you like you have supported me. So if you haven't subscribed to Farmall Eric, if you haven't subscribed to Eric's channel, go over there and subscribe to him. He is wanting to get started, and he's been working towards, I believe, the goal of YouTubing and things like that. And those of you that have a YouTube channel, and you all know, something's itching my nose. Y'all know the work and the time and the effort it takes to have a YouTube channel, and it's, it's a job. It's a full-time job once you get real deep into it. And if you haven't noticed, I was posting, I was trying to post every day of the week. I'm slowly dialing that down to 2 to 3 times a week. Probably mostly because it's the winter time, and I'm sure you all don't want to see the same stuff over and over again. There's not as much stuff that I can, post in the winter time. 2, I'm trying to be more steady, and kind of slow myself down. That way I can put out better content for you all. I hope that you all have noticed. I don't know if you all have noticed, my videos have been a little bit different, but I am really trying and working towards having more interesting videos. I feel like my videos are boring. I don't know if you all have the same opinion, and I don't want you all to be like, oh no, they're not boring, to like boost me up. But I feel like in general people think that my regular videos are boring, and so I'm hoping they're not. When I watch them back, I don't think, oh, well, this is boring, but I've been trying to work towards having more interesting videos, and having more, maybe like a video where I'm doing chores, but having more like thought out videos. And so I hope you all have noticed that. I don't know if you have. but I hope you all have noticed that. My goal is to go ahead and try to get my watch hours. I lost a lot of watch hours. I enjoy watching. My wife's been watching too. That's awesome. Thank you, Eric. I've been working towards getting my watch hours, and I think that's why I think my videos are boring, because I have quite a few subscribers, and I don't say that to brag. Can you please sing happy birthday to me? I don't know.
I probably could.
Nah, well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, see, she's getting all, my face is turning red. I updated it in my community page. Was turmeric powder, no canning, just let set 6 weeks. So they're like refrigerator, or they were like refrigerator pickles. But I've been trying to work towards more, oh, they're not. Okay. Okay. Alright, see, my mother-in-law did her sweet pickles. She sat them up in a jar. They weren't refrigerated. She just covered them, sat them in a jar in like a dark area, covered them up. And, okay, he said they can sit out. So if you are interested in the pickles he updated on his community page, has turmeric powder and let sit for 6 weeks. And he said they're set out on the counter pickles. But I'm working towards, getting my time in. Getting my time in, my hours. Because in order to become monetized, you have to do that. I started these lives to kind of draw, a community in, and I feel like that it's done that. And I feel like that we get to talk about multiple different things, and we get to help each other, encourage each other. And I want to make sure that, my videos are the same way. I want to make sure that we're talking about topics that you all are interested in. Because I'm doing this channel as much for me as I am for you all. I love just watching and looking back and seeing different things that we've done and seeing Lakin in the videos. It's going to be fun to, look back and see her grow up in the videos. But I also do them to be helpful and informational for you all. And like I said, in the beginning, I'm not an expert on everything, or maybe even anything. Some people would say I know nothing. That's perfectly okay. I know that there's somebody that's always smarter and has more experience in the things that I talk about, and I encourage you all to, if you have experience in something that I'm talking about, that you share your experience. That's what I love about the recent videos that I've put out. I've put videos out and people have commented and shared their experience, and that's important. That's important to get somebody else's perspective besides mine. Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah, and I did a video the other day about why homesteads fail, and I talk about that, being a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I think specifically with homesteading, we tend to overwhelm ourselves and want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, when really we need to go slow and we need to master the certain things that we want to do and then move on to another thing. And I've tried, I've done like gardening. I've done it, for years. I've been gardening for almost a decade, and was really young when I started. And I think people look at me too. I don't know if they do. I know a lot of older people watch me. My age range is a lot older than my age, 20 years older than me. Actually, majority of my viewers are 20 years older than me, and I don't really know what I can teach somebody that is that much older than me. That I'm especially people that have been farming, because they have more knowledge than me. Um, and it's funny to me that those are yeah, he's 52. My age range, I'm trying to think. It's like 50s to 50 and greater, and that's 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 who watches my videos. People that are older, and it's mostly older men that watch my videos. And I guess that's where I talk about farming. But when I think about that, it almost makes me nervous because I feel like men, or people that are that age know more than me. I mean, I don't want to say I'm young compared to them because that sounds awful. But what's 10 years to somebody that's been doing it for 20? Um, and so, I don't claim to be an expert. I don't want to say, I don't want to come off as being an expert, and that's why I try to make my videos and try to encourage people to leave comments on my videos to share their experience, because I do not know everything. I share the knowledge that I know, the topics that I know, that I know. I try to talk about things that I know. I try to share the knowledge and the experience that I've learned, the things that I've done, that I've tried and said, nope, not going to do that no more, and here's why. Or, I'm going to do this, and this is why I'm going to do it. Or this is how I do something, and this is, why we do it this way. I want to be able to help people in that way that are trying to learn, but I know there's people that know better than me. I know there's people that know a lot of things, that can do a lot of things better than me and know a lot more things than me, and that's why I try to lead this channel, as I try to explain this on a lot of my lives, that this is a community, and if you have something to say, if you can say it kindly, if you can say it with love and kindness in your heart, then put your experience out there. Tell us. When daughter grows up, she will look back and smile at her mama. Oh, I appreciate it, Daisy, too. But yeah, I just want this to be. I want. I want. I want this to be a community, for sure, that we can help each other and learn from each other. And there's no. I never want to come off to people that I know everything, and like it's like I'm saying I know everything and you know nothing. I don't want to come off like that. I want to, if I have an opinion on something and you don't agree with it, that's perfectly fine. I love, honestly, 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 I love hearing other people's opinions about things. Mostly, like I said, because I don't know everything, and two, I like to hear other sides. I've never been a person that's said you're wrong and I'm right and you don't know what you're talking about, because they might. Um, and even if I don't agree with their side, even if I don't agree with the other side of what people have to say, I've got ears. I can listen. And if I don't want to listen, guess what? It's the internet, so I don't have to. I don't have to take everything that everybody says to heart either. I don't have to get my feelings hurt and get all tore up because somebody else has a different opinion than me. We can all have a different opinion and still be able to have those opinions with kindness. Um, and that's the thing. You got to be kind. You got to be willing to be able to help people in a kind way. Everyone's soil and climate is different, so different outcomes of garden experience. Yeah, ain't that cool though? I love, especially like I mean, you're in the what is it like you're in the one of the hottest climates. You're in the I don't, is that south? Is that southwest? You're in a completely different climate and a completely different heat. You have all the heat where you're at, and it's neat to see people. Like I've watched people garden in Arizona and stuff, and it's so neat to see that they get to garden in the fall and the winter time, where they're at, and in the summer they can't garden. Y'all have rain and I get jealous. Well, we didn't have much rain last last summer. It was the rain was sparse last summer. It was a drought for everybody. But it's neat to get to see people's gardens from different and people grow things differently. They have different things that they like to grow. A big thing for us, and I've talked about it on live before, is green beans. Green beans are a staple food in the garden. Tomatoes and peppers are a staple food in the garden. And I know that not everybody either knows how to grow those things or that's something that's not common for them. Appalachians cook a lot different. We eat things a lot differently. We do things a lot differently. You know, a lot of the new gardening that's coming out is raised beds and, you know, what is it called? Like the permaculture method, and you don't really till the ground, you just open the ground. And typically in the Appalachian region, you know, we're tilling the ground and getting, you know, turning the dirt up, and you know, and growing different things that you know other people don't grow. Um, and I don't see nothing wrong with the permaculture. I don't want to say anything bad about it. I think that it's wonderful. It's just not something that's typically done around here. If I walk down to the local corner store and I asked them if they knew what permaculture was, they would have no clue probably what I was talking about. Especially if it was an older individual, he would have no clue. And if I said that permaculture, you know, they do their garden that way, they probably would have never heard of it and probably would even think it was odd to do it that way because typically we just do things differently. And we don't do things as, you know, as modern or have as modern thinking as other people do. And I don't see anything wrong with the permaculture. I don't want to talk bad about it at all because I think that it is wonderful. And I think that we're better off if we work with the land um, and things like that. And I brought up the raised beds as well. I don't see anything wrong with the raised beds. And that should be obvious because we have 3 of them on the farm. And we've talked about here recently maybe adding a few more. So we'll just have to see. I think that raised beds are wonderful. I think they're easy to grow in. And I think that they make gardening accessible for people that otherwise wouldn't have gardens accessible to them. A lot of people do container gardens, and if they work for you, that is wonderful. Um, we haven't done container gardens ourselves, but my father-in-law did container gardens, and we had to water them for him when he got really bad sick, and almost died actually. And then we had to tend to his container gardens in 5-gallon buckets. And I'm gonna go ahead and probably make a bold statement. I don't like container gardens. I don't like bucket gardens. In my opinion, it's a lot of work to have a tomato or a plant of some sort in a bucket and grow it. You gotta water it like crazy. You gotta stay on them. They get really hot. So if you're looking into having plants in buckets and you haven't done it before, something I recommend is, you know, making sure that you're staying on top of watering them because they can dry out really fast. My sister was on a live and commented on the live on the last live we did Wednesday, and she had a container garden. She had plants in buckets. She left on vacation and had my, I'm going to call him out, had my stepdad babysit the house, and he was supposed to water her plants, her containers, and he didn't, and they died. When they got back, they were dry, and she was just gone for a week. And I'm sure that she watered them before she left. So they dry out really, really fast. And they were not fun to have to tend to. So I'm not a big fan of plants in buckets if you've got the time to tend to them and you don't have like a major, you know, life crisis going on or something in the family going on that you have to do, you know, a million other things for. And you've got the time to have plants in buckets, then, you know, more power to you. But they're not my favorite. But I do believe that they make gardening accessible for people. and they make it easier for people to have a garden and grow their own food. And I will completely encourage you to the end of the earth to grow your as much food as you can, to grow your own food, to grow what you love and grow what you eat. And that's another thing. If you're gonna grow something, and it's okay to like try and see this person growing something, and maybe want to try one or two things, but do not fill your garden full of stuff that you don't eat on a daily basis or stuff that you don't like. I know a lot of people get excited about gardening, and they watch people on YouTube and they see stuff and they're like, oh, well, they grow that, so I should grow that. No, that's not the case. Grow what you eat. If you're buying groceries in the grocery store and you're buying corn and tomatoes and peppers and onions and beans and butternut squash and summer squash or strawberries or whatever it is, whatever you're buying in the store before you have a garden, that's what you need to grow. You need to grow what you eat. Same thing with preserving. If you're going to put food up, it's okay to try a recipe here and there, to see if you like something. I would encourage you to try the recipe before you go and can the recipe, but you don't want 57 cans of, I don't know, pepper jelly if you haven't tried pepper jelly, if you don't like pepper jelly, if you don't like peppers, if you don't like canned peppers. That's with everything. If you don't eat it, don't preserve it. If you don't eat it, don't grow it. Like I said, it's okay to try stuff, and I encourage you to try different things. I mean, that's awesome. But don't grow a whole bunch of something that you don't like, or just because just because you see me growing 5 rows of, I don't know, rattlesnake green beans, and you don't like green beans, or you don't like a string bean, because a lot of people don't like having to string a bean. A lot of people don't like beans on the trellis. Stuff like that. If you don't like those things, can you say my name? I will leave. How many jars do I have of what? Like put up? I don't... Randy, I wish I could answer your question, because I don't... If you're talking about how many jars I put up, I didn't count. I don't know. I'm getting low on apples. I've got about, in total, I don't know how many I have left. And I don't know how many I started out with. I wish I did. But I've got... I don't know, three or 4 cans of salsa left, probably about 10 to 12 jars of tomatoes left, tomato sauce and juice together, and, hold on, give me just a second, let me see, I had to take care of something, probably 4 or 5 jars of green beans. I didn't can any peppers. I froze all my peppers. And I've probably got four or five full, absolutely full to the brim, gallon size bags of peppers left, not cut, whole peppers. I've used all my peppers that I cut up. I need to cut them up. Yeah, I've got veggies in the freezer. I've got butternut squash in the freezer. I don't know, Randy. I wish I could answer you. And my jars, I've got a box up there, and it's so full that I've got. Here's another thing, is we drink out of mason jars. So I have this glass here, but my mother-in-law just gave me maybe 6 of these glasses. we always drank out of mason jars. So when I would finish, something, I would clean it out, and then I would put it in the cupboard, and we would drink out of it. So I didn't keep track of how much we ate, and I didn't keep track of how much we made, and I didn't keep track. I don't know how. This is my pantry. I don't know how much we've got in there. I wish I could tell you. I should have done better. I will fully admit to you that I should have done better keeping track. Should have done better. The other thing about us, Randy, is we cook here. I cook, like full meals here, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and sometimes Friday. But we eat at my mother-in-law's Monday, Sunday, Saturday, and some Fridays. And me and her preserve all of our food together. And so we eat at her house sometimes more in a week than we eat at our house. And so we're eating the same food, we're canning the same food products, we're canning together. If I can something at our house, I take, half of it to her house, or if she cans something, she, gives us something, or if we can together, we just split it. And we do a lot of canning together, along with, preserving a few things separately. But we share a lot of the products, so I never kept track. I never kept track of, what all we were, what the numbers were. I know that she's getting lower on her canning stuff than I am, but she's feeding more of us. She's feeding 7 people when we are there. So that is what it is. I wish I would have kept numbers. And after I started canning stuff, I thought, why didn't I keep track? But I'd done 8. We've done 8 into the amount that we had canned. But we put up a lot of tomatoes last year. Tomatoes and peppers was a big thing. I didn't can any peppers. She canned pepper jelly, she canned pepper jelly for the first time last year. She also canned cucumber relish, and it had peppers in it. And then I froze a lot of peppers, and that's typically when I cook a meal. My meals typically, if it's a supper, like a dinner type meal, we usually have peppers in everything. Spaghetti, meatloaf, fried taters, all those things we put pepper in, all those things we put onion in. Here's one thing that we did not grow enough of last year. We've always just grew like eaten onions, like your little side onions that you have. I want to grow some onions that we can preserve and put up. That is a skill that I have not done before. That is a skill that, I haven't mastered because I've never done it. In all the years we've gardened, like I said, we've been gardening for about a decade, or, of our married life, we've been gardening for about a decade. And I've never grown onions to preserve them. We've always just grown onions on the side, like little small onions. So that is something that I'm wanting to try. I don't know if we'll be able to do it this year, but that is something that I'm wanting to try. I'm sorry about my distractedness, guys. I'm having to go through and block people out of the chat because they're, I don't know what they're doing, but we keep, we try to keep things decent on this channel. Do you believe in using jars within 2 years, or is it okay if it looks okay to use canning food? My husband threw away my can from 2022. I don't. After 2 years, usually our food doesn't make it 2 years. Usually we've done eat it. It's very rare for us to have something over 2 years old. Um, but I would throw it out. I would feed it to the chickens. Is what I would do. And here's the reason why. Um, it's really easy. It's easy for canning things to go wrong. Um, botulism is a big thing. Hello, how are you? Botulism is a big thing, and it can kill you. So, um, I try to go by the guidelines, and I try to go by the rules, and I try to follow, best canning practices. I know a lot of people that, still can like the old-fashioned way, and it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous when they can the old-fashioned way, and do things that maybe aren't necessarily what they recommend now. So I try to do my best to follow the recommendations, and I know they change. Like I know they go back and forth and say this is wrong and that's wrong. Um, but I don't know. It's like it like your life could depend on it, and somebody else's life could depend on it. And I give a lot of my canned goods away, a lot of my canned food that I can um, away. I give it to my family and friends and people that come over. I give it to my church people, and so I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can and following the practices that are set. That way, ain't nobody getting sick on by something that I've done, because you can mess up canning, and people do. And if you've never messed up, you probably haven't been canning long enough. I've heard a lot of people say that. I've only been canning for just a couple short years, of 2 years, 2 or 3 years, 2 summers. I've only canned 2 summers um, by myself. I've only canned 2 summers. I've helped other people, can or whatever. Um, Maybe it's just where I'm, like newer at it, that I'm a little more nervous about it. But I try to just follow best practice of whatever they're saying you're supposed to do. At that time, then that's what I do. To answer your question though, like I said, I would throw it out. I would feed it to the chickens if it's past the 2 year mark. But it's I can't honestly, Daisy Q. I can't think of anything that we've ever canned that's made it made it that long. And that goes back to the what we were talking about. Like, we eat what we grow, and what we grow is what we can, and then what we can we eat. And so that's probably why we've never had anything last very long. And if I know, like, I try to have enough stuff to make it to the next garden season. Not all the stuff, I know not all the stuff is going to like, huh, I know not all the stuff is going to make it. Like, I know we're probably going to eat all the salsa before the time comes up. We'll probably maybe finish the green beans. But if I have anything extra as the next garden season comes around, I try to give the other stuff away. My sister doesn't can. My mom doesn't can. My dad doesn't can. And they eat those things, but they just don't can. And they can't grow gardens. And so my sister, like I said, grows a little container garden. My mom and my dad don't grow gardens. And so I try to give them what I have. If I have anything extra, I try to pass it on. Like I said, if somebody in my church needs or wants something, or if I just feel like giving them something, I'll give them that. And so if my stuff makes it to the next garden season, which I try, I try to get it to make it to the next garden season, I use my stuff up. So, but if we try to stretch it. Well, we don't try to stretch it. We just try to grow enough for it to make it. And if it does, and I have, I'm getting ready to can the next thing, and I'm gonna have, a bunch of tomatoes coming into the pantry, fresh tomatoes. I'm gonna, give the other stuff away or try to use it up. So that's what happens with the canning. But we grow, like I said, we grow what we eat. We can what we eat. And there's some other things that I really want to make sure that we're, canning this year. Definitely pepper jelly. I talked about pepper jelly on the last live. I am in love with the taste of that pepper jelly. If you have not tried pepper jelly before, if you if you've ever eaten at Wendy's, the restaurant, and you've had their sweet and sour sauce, I loved it when I was a kid. And you had their sweet and sour sauce, that's kind of what pepper jelly tastes like. It's sweet and sour. It's really, really, really good. And so when we have supper, I usually take a spoonful and plop it on my plate. And we had talked on the live last time about it, and she said that Harmon Homestead said that she cans a bunch of pepper jelly, and she absolutely loves it, and her family loves it. Well, guys, we have been on here for, looks like, 90 minutes and 55 seconds. So we've been on here for a while, and looks like people are slowly trickling off. We've had quite a few people on here, but I guess we'll call it a night. But I appreciate everybody that showed up. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Like I said, if you have any questions for me or anything you'd like for me to cover, let me know. Thank you, Eric. I always like hanging out with you all too. I appreciate it. Good night. Good night. We love y'all with the love of the Lord, and hopefully we can see you on the next one.
Love y'all.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.